Greetings to everyone out there in the No DQ galaxy. Happy Thanksgiving Eve and welcome to the No DQ recap of AEW Dynamite from Chicago, as well as my thoughts on NXT from Full Sail University in Orlando, Florida. Let's go ahead and get started with the recap. Shout out to everyone in the chat room watching live, and I also want to give a shout out to anybody watching this video, whether it's live or on demand. I appreciate your viewership. We had AEW Dynamite kick off with the big celebration that Chris Jericho was hyping up, and what better way to kick off the Jericho celebration than with Virgil, aka Soul Train Jones. I popped for this. Cool to see Virgil back. Jericho came out and the ring was decked with all sorts of various celebration items. You had these displays on the outside, these people in costumes. You had a big picture of the inner circle in the ring. You had all these gifts in the ring. Jericho told the people to sit down and shut up. And then Jericho had the inner circle come out. Everyone came to the ring. And then Jericho revealed that he is debuting his own line of bubbly. There is going to be Chris Jericho sparkling wine, and it's already available. And apparently the website crashed because a lot of people want a little bit of the bubbly. And right now that is currently winning catchphrase of the year on the NoDQ.com year-end awards, but there's still time to vote. If you think there's a better catchphrase than that one, go over to NoDQ.com/features and submit your vote. Sammy G showed Chris Jericho a gift, which was a big cardboard cutout of them hugging. Nelson Moreno with a $2 super chat says, "Did you buy one?" No, I did not, although maybe I should for journalistic purposes, but then again, I'm straight edge, so that would not be something that would be in character for me to do, although you could argue that I should review it and give my thoughts about it, but we'll see. Maybe. If there's some of the Jericho bubbly around and somebody offers it to me, I might try it. I'll give it a shot and give my critique on it. Then we had this big box in the ring. And before that, I forgot to mention that Jake Hager brought out Chris Jericho. An actual goat was brought out. The Jericho, I kid you not. And then Adrian with a $5 super chat says, "Aaron, my man, what's the crake?" Not sure what that means, but he gives a thumbs up. Thank you for that super chat, Adrian. I do appreciate it. Anyways, we found out what was under the big box. It was, in fact, a person. It was Chris Jericho's father, Ted Irvine, who proceeded to cut a promo ripping into the Chicago Blackhawks. Of course, Ted Irvine played for the New York Rangers. So he got the heel heat by bringing up the rivalry between the Rangers and the Blackhawks. I have no idea if they even competed against each other because I don't follow hockey, so couldn't tell you. But I know enough that they're hockey teams. He said that the Blackhawks are nothing but wimps, and then the crowd started chanting "Rangers suck." And that's when Justin Roberts was brought into the ring by Jericho to read the thank you letter from AEW, because this is what Jericho has wanted the entire time. Jericho wanted the thank you from AEW and the recognition that Jericho put AEW on the map. Justin Roberts proceeded to read the letter, but Jericho wasn't quite satisfied, and as a result, Justin Roberts got beat up by the inner circle. And then we had SCU dressed up as members of the marching band that were out there. They came out and made the save for Justin Roberts. So this was a very, WWE-esque segment. I did like it, but it felt like AEW trying to do a WWE type segment, trying to do perhaps the Festival of Friendship, something like that. It was good, but I didn't really think it was necessarily a great segment. They did have some audio issues also, and I felt it dragged out maybe a bit too long than it really needed to be. Psycho Jet Black with a $5 super chat says, who is a better world champion, Jinder Mahal or Jeff Jarrett? Oh man, that's a tough one. I mean, this is off topic here. I would probably go with Jeff Jarrett only because he had a little bit more credibility than Jinder Mahal. He wasn't booked as an opening match guy, and then all of a sudden he was world champion. But you could argue Jarrett was maybe even a worse drawing champion than Jinder Mahal. I mean, Jinder Mahal really wasn't a drawing champion, but it's all about the brand now. But when Jarrett was champion, WCW was going down the tubes, although you could also argue didn't matter who had the WCW title at that point. And then he said, also, when do you think AEW will introduce the mid-card title? Good question. I mean, they might wait until the new year to do it. I could see AEW holding off a little bit longer and not debuting it right away. They have the ring. I don't know if that's going to be a thing now, and I'll talk about that more here in a few moments. Ken, terminated by Google with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Ken. He says, screw Adrian for killing the Super Chat Championship. By the way, Rift, I am going to ask you about AEW Dark later. Happy Thanksgiving, Aaron. Well, happy Thanksgiving to you too, Ken, terminated by Google, and I very much appreciate your viewership and support of NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel. And by the way, if you guys want to support the website, Black Friday is upon us. Head over to NoDQ.com/merch, and you can get anything on there, shirts, hoodies, wall tapestries, lots of stuff on there. 25% off. Use the code NODQBlack. That will get you 25% off anything at NoDQ.com/merch for the Black Friday weekend sale. So we had the next match, which was the Best Friends versus the Lucha Brothers. And I should mention that because Justin Roberts got attacked, Roberts was replaced by former WWE personality Dasha Fuentes. Power Packers 90 with the $2 super chat says, have to be up for 4 a.m., but happy Thanksgiving, Aaron. Well, thank you for that, Power Packers. I do appreciate it. Were you at AEW tonight? Just wondering. I know a few people that I've corresponded with were in attendance for the AEW show. And by the way, a quick plug out there for Sun Goshiku, who is currently the leader on the No DQ Predictions League. He was there for all the WWE events over the weekend. At least he was there for TakeOver and Survivor Series. Go check out his videos. He gives an in-person perspective, what he thought about the shows. So check him out. By the way, let me talk about NXT. So NXT, Tom Phillips replaced Mauro Ranallo, which is unfortunate. I'm hopeful that Mauro will be back sooner than later, but knowing him, it might be a while before he's ready to come back. I just think the whole thing is really unfortunate. Corey Graves did apologize, but you have to wonder if WWE put him up to it, and it still feels kind of cheap, the fact that he would have his apology on his podcast instead of just apologizing right away and putting it out there on Twitter. He had to do it on his podcast to get people to tune in. So, yeah, the whole thing really sucks, and I just hope Mauro Ranallo's doing okay, and hopefully he's back as soon as possible. We definitely miss his commentary in NXT. All right, let's see what we got here. We got Adrian with another $5 super chat. Says, Aaron, it's pronounced crack. Seamus regularly says, what's the crack? It's an Irish thing. Well, that's news to me, so I did not know that there was a special spelling of crack, and I did not even know that Seamus used that as a term. So I learned something new today. Thank you very much for that, Adrian. I appreciate the insight. And a good friend of the NoDQ.com channel, The Holiday, Christopher Mace with a $10 super chat. Thank you for that, Chris. He says, happy Thanksgiving, Aaron. How long do you think it will take for NXT to beat AEW every week in the ratings? Great question, Chris. And at this point, I think the jury's still out. I mean, NXT came back. They won last week, but they had all the main roster people hyped up and advertised for that show. Can they keep that momentum going? Survivor Series, we got to see the NXT guys shine, and they were victorious at Survivor Series overall. Will that result in more casual Raw and SmackDown viewers checking out NXT? We'll find out this week. We'll see if it was a one-off or if NXT is going to build some momentum coming off of Survivor Series. I think that the jury is still out on that. I think this week's numbers will be very interesting to see if there is any kind of momentum shift with NXT gaining the upper hand over AEW. And Power Packers 90 with a $2 super chat says, I was at Survivor Series and Raw, missed AEW because of work tomorrow. Well, unfortunately, it doesn't always work out. You got things coming that you're not able to take time off for. So sorry about that, Power Packers 90. I know you would have liked to have been there for AEW, but Chicago's a big market for them, and I'm sure they'll be back pretty soon, and most likely for that next all-out pay-per-view, and I could see them doing more Dynamite. So AEW will definitely be back in town if you're in the Chicagoland area. You know that's pretty much a given. So anyways, for NXT, we had the whole AEW roster come out to celebrate their victory at Survivor Series, but then the Undisputed Era cut this promo about how they were the only reason that NXT emerged victorious. This led to Finn Balor coming out, and then Tommaso Ciampa confronted Finn Balor, and there was this back and forth between them, and this basically set up the main event, which was Finn Balor versus Tommaso Ciampa. I'll talk about that here more in a few moments. Apparently, I botched something. AEW roster, okay. My apologies, guys. The NXT roster came out, not the AEW roster. So we had a tag team match over on NXT. Got it right this time. Undisputed Era defending the tag team titles against Keith Lee and Dominic D. Now, at some point during this match, there was an injury to Bobby Fish, and he was replaced with Roderick Strong after the commercial break. So hopefully he's okay, but I guess it was significant enough that he had to be replaced by Strong. And then we had Adam Cole come out to try and interfere, and that's when he was cut off by Keith Lee. And this was, I'm saying it right now, this was the spot of the night. Keith Lee gave Adam Cole this crazy-ass pounce. Adam Cole was just launched like a cannonball all the way over the barricade into the fans. I posted an animated graphic of it on the No DQ Twitter account, No DQ DOTCOM, and I watched it like 100 times. I mean, that was a crazy moment, but it was enough. Adam Cole took the bullet for the Undisputed Era, but the distraction proved to be effective, and Undisputed Era retained their tag team titles. But yeah, I love that pounce. Great spot, and the match was really solid from what I saw. And meanwhile, on AEW, we had a tag team match, which was very surprising to me. We had the Best Friends versus the Lucha Brothers, and they had a member of the All Elite Fleet as a special guest announcer for this match, by the way. We had the Best Friends attacked from behind by the Lucha Brothers, but then Orange Cassidy did a big dive, and we had Best Friends back in the mix. And surprisingly enough, Trent pinned Phoenix to win the match for the Best Friends. So Best Friends defeat the Lucha Brothers. Little surprising to me, especially. What's interesting is AEW's doing the win and losses, and it's supposed to matter who wins and who loses. But I feel like a lot of these guys are basically trading wins. It's almost like WWE, where everyone's kind of on the same level with a few exceptions. I mean, Jericho's an obvious one. But a lot of these guys seem to be trading wins back and forth, and it's like, it's still 50-50 booking, and it still seems like nobody's really at a level above anybody else for the most part. I know Phoenix won a singles match last week, and then this week he loses. So kind of interesting how it's going. And I know AEW is going to reset, and it's all work in progress. But yeah, I'm not sure that the rankings really make all that much of a difference when it's still 50-50 booking and people are just trading wins back and forth. Next up on AEW, we had a tag team match, Holla Holla Holla. Teddy Long must really love these AEW Dynamites because it seems like AEW does tons of tag team matches. We had back-to-back tag matches here. We had B. Priestley and Emi Sakura, a.k.a. the Freddie Mercury cosplayer, versus Hikaru Shida and Chris Statlander. Hopefully I got those names pronounced correctly. But a funny moment here was Jim Ross on commentary saying something like Freddie Mercury never looked that Oriental or that Asian. Kind of a cringy line from Jim Ross, especially in today's day and age. Calling somebody an Oriental is not really the most politically correct way to refer to somebody. So yeah, that was probably the facepalm moment of the night. I guess JR had to follow up Jerry Lawler on Raw with that comment about Ric Flair looking down on Charlotte. Anyways, we had this match going on, and over on NXT we had Dakota Kai. Actually, no, that was later on. We had a promo from Candice LeRae basically saying that Dakota Kai was not going to be facing Candice, but rather Tegan Nox's pissed off big sister. We had Shane Thorne versus Mansoor over on NXT, and over on AEW, we had the Freddie Mercury cosplayer, Sakura, basically use the mic stand while the referee wasn't looking to use it to her advantage, and then she pinned Chris to pick up the victory. And this was weird to me. So I guess Sakura's a heel, but earlier in the match she's doing the "We Will Rock You" thing to try and get the crowd behind her, yet she's cheating to win. So I guess she's a heel, but she's still trying to get the crowd fired up. So I don't know what that's about. But again, I guess AEW shades of gray and nobody's a heel, nobody's a face, yada, yada, yada. I don't know. And Jon Moxley cut a promo also talking about how he is going to declare war on anyone and he's going to keep coming and he's looking for a fight. He's looking for somebody to pick a fight, although he actually did not use that phrase. We had Cody making his big return to AEW after like a 2-week absence, his grand return. He faced Matt Nix, beat him very quickly with the figure 4. And meanwhile, on NXT, we had Candice LeRae versus Dakota Kai. And I'll get to more of that in just a moment here. Cody, after the match, called out MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, my bad. He called him out, but instead, we had these two guys come from under the ring. We had the Blade, who is former Impact Wrestling star Braxton Sutter, if you have any idea who that is. And the Butcher, only thing I can say about him is he looks like Teddy Roosevelt. The two of them attacked Cody, and then we had Allie show up, who's apparently a heel now, and she's the Bunny. Crowd really did not know what to make of this. They were like, who are these guys? And Jim Ross was the same way. Jim Ross is like, who are these guys? Have they been on AEW before? And Excalibur was like, no, but one guy's the Butcher, one guy's the Bunny, or one gal's the Bunny, one person's the Blade. So Excalibur is apparently the only person who knew who these three people were. Weird segment, and I'm trying to figure out like why is everybody attacking Cody? Is this how every new character is going to debut, by attacking Cody? Weird segment here. And JR not knowing who they are was kind of strange too. I mean, I think it would be best if nobody knew who they were, or everybody knows who they are. And having one guy know and one guy not know was a little strange to me. So weird debut, and I don't know what to make of it. And you would think that the focus would be Cody and MJF, and now you got somebody else attacking Cody. So is Cody going to be feuding with multiple people at this point? That was the first hour of AEW, which was a mixed bag. And AEW's been really consistently strong, but I felt like this was the first week where they're kind of just not sure what direction they're going in, and something just felt off with the first hour as far as I'm concerned. It definitely picked up, though, with the second hour. We had Kenny Omega versus Pac, which was another great match from these guys. I mean, they always deliver. And meanwhile, over on NXT, we had the finish of Dakota Kai and Candice LeRae. Dakota basically took the leg brace of Tegan Nox and attacked Candice with it. That led to a disqualification. And then Rhea Ripley came out, made the save with a steel chair. And then we had a promo from Tommaso Ciampa saying that he turned NXT into the A show. So we have all these people taking credit for NXT being victorious at Survivor Series. We also had a Cameron Grimes video package. Back over on AEW, we had Pac going for the Black Falcon arrow, or the Black Arrow, excuse me. He missed that, and then they went back and forth, and Omega countered Pac, scored the pinfall victory. So Kenny Omega starting to get back into the groove in the storyline. He's finally getting his mojo back that he lost, apparently, since AEW launched. Then we had, over on NXT, we had Tozawa versus Lio Rush, which, from what I saw, was another great cruiserweight match. Those guys had a great back and forth. On AEW, we had MJF come out for his match with Hangman Adam Page, the master of the cowboy shit. MJF had Wardlow out there with him, who's basically a giant-sized Marty Scurll. They both cut their little mini promos, picture-in-picture promos before the match. MJF talked about the $45,000 diamond that was on the line and how he was going to win it. And Adam Page was just more concerned with trying to pick up a big win, and there will be nothing sweeter than beating MJF. So basically in this match, it was Wardlow who was the difference maker. He interfered several times during the match. He prevented Page from doing a big dive. And then Page hit the buckshot lariat, but then Wardlow put MJF's foot on the bottom rope. And then Wardlow gave him a sucker punch when the referee wasn't looking. MJF took advantage and scored the victory over Adam Page to win the $45,000 diamond ring. After this, we had Diamond Dallas Page, DDP, come out to present the diamond ring to MJF, but DDP was going to give MJF a piece of his mind. He told MJF that MJF's actions have disappointed him. And then DDP added, "Since I'm the bigger man, ha ha ha, I will congratulate you like a man." At this point, MJF disrespected DDP by taking his gum out and putting it in DDP's hand instead of shaking it. And then Wardlow got in DDP's face and they started to fight. Security separated them, and I have no idea if this is leading to a match, if DDP is going to do one more match, or if this was just a one-off angle. So yeah, MJF is your new Battle Bowl champion or Diamond Cutter champion, whatever the hell they're calling it with the ring. And back over on NXT, crowd was loving the cruiserweight match. This is awesome chants. Leo retained the championship with the frog splash. Again, good stuff from what I saw. And the legacy, even if 205 Live might be on its last legs, the spirit of the cruiserweight division still lives in NXT. So I know the simple man Noah Foster is feeling okay, knowing that the cruiserweights are still doing their thing, just on Wednesday nights now. Then we had a random promo from Dustin Rhodes. He was just standing in the ring when AEW came back from commercial. He said that Jake Hager broke his arm, and now he's out for Jake's blood. Pretty much immediately, Sammy G ran down, and he tried to take Dustin's leg out, and Dustin basically no-sold it. The rest of the Inner Circle ran down, and then the Young Bucks came out, Matt Jackson making his return after a 2-week absence or whatever. And then we had the super kick party, super kicks to Sammy. And then Dustin even got involved with the super kicks. We had a triple super kick party. And then we had a triple Shattered Dreams to the heels. And then it was announced that next week it'll be Dustin and the Bucks against the Inner Circle in a 6-man tag team match. Then we had a video package, another video package for the Dark Order. Still don't care about them. You could do 100 video packages. I'm probably not going to care about them. Then we had, not sure how to pronounce her name, Xia Li. I'm probably wrong on that. Versus Vanessa Bourne. Lee won the match. And then afterwards, Shayna Baszler and the Horsewomen showed up. They beat up Lee. And then Shayna Baszler cut a promo about how all the other people, Ciampa, Adam Cole, they're all taking credit for NXT being victorious at Survivor Series. And Shayna's basically like, hey, she beat Becky Lynch and Bayley at the same time, and she's the one that should be getting the credit for NXT being victorious. Then we had Rhea Ripley come out, and you had a little back and forth between them, and Rhea Ripley was basically like, well, yeah, you did beat Becky, you did beat Bayley. However, I beat you at TakeOver War Games. And she said she'll do it again. And they kind of teased the confrontation. Ripley wanted to fight right there, but Baszler was like, nah, gotta wait, gotta do the heel thing, gotta take off and pick your spot. So pretty good segment here to build their matchup, which I'm guessing will be at the next TakeOver pay-per-view and probably be the headliner. I mean, considering how much stock has been put into both of them, you would think that maybe the ladies will get the main event spot at the next TakeOver for once. But will it surpass Survivor Series with Becky Lynch and Bayley, that triple threat? Hopefully it will. Then we had the AEW main event, which was Chris Jericho versus Scorpio Skye of SCU. And as this was going on, we had the NXT main event get started, Tommaso Ciampa versus Finn Balor. Jake Hager tried to get involved. He got on the apron, and then Jericho rolled up Scorpio Skye, who was distracted. However, Scorpio kicked out, and then SCU came out to fight off Jake Hager. What was weird about this was that these guys were all banned from ringside, yet they were still coming out there anyways. I wonder if they're going to be fined in storyline or if this will just be quickly forgotten about. Jericho tried to use the championship, but then it failed, it backfired, and Scorpio hit the TKO for a near fall. And then Jericho hit the code breaker. Scorpio kicked out. Crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." Scorpio got a backslide, almost won again. And then Jericho countered him, put on the Lion Tamer, and a very game Scorpio Skye tapped out because he had no choice in the center of the ring. And Chris Jericho is still your Le Champion of AEW. We had Jon Moxley then come out through the crowd to confront Jericho. Looks like we're getting a setup for those two at some point. Don't know if AEW is going to wait until February when their next pay-per-view is probably taking place, or if they're going to do a match with these guys sooner. That remains to be seen. Adrian with another $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Adrian. He says, another great video, Aaron. 3:44 a.m. here in Ireland. Dedicated no DQ fan. Well, thank you very much, Adrian, for watching, and I do appreciate your support very much. Here in the States, we have Thanksgiving, but I hope your weekend goes well. And then we had the rest of the Ciampa versus Balor match. So, funny enough, like the ending sequence of events in this match, it was very similar to the Jericho Scorpio Sky match. We had the near falls, of course, the air raid from Ciampa, Balor kicked out, and then Adam Cole ran down, same thing as Jake Hager, getting on the apron, and then Balor, same thing as Jericho, rolling up a distracted Ciampa for a near fall. And then again, like Jericho, Balor tries to use the championship, and Ciampa briefly counters, and then Balor ends up slamming Ciampa onto the championship, which is not a DQ, I guess, because he technically didn't use the weapon aggressively, or the championship as a weapon aggressively. Ciampa kicked out again, and then Adam Cole, when the referee was distracted, hit a kick onto Ciampa, and then Balor hit the 1916 DDT. I'm not sure the significance of the year. I don't know. Maybe somebody in the chat room can fill me in on it. Basically his new DDT finisher, although maybe he's been using it for a while, and again, I'm just not paying attention. After the match, Adam Cole posed with Balor, acting like they were friends and whatnot, and Balor was doing the Bullet Club gun salute, and then all of a sudden, he hit the Pele or the Enziguri, whatever the hell it is, onto Adam Cole, basically saying he's his own man. So again, I don't know if Balor's a face or a heel. He's a shade of gray, but he's his own man. He's not affiliated with anybody. And that was NXT. Both shows pretty solid, although I have to say, AEW, this might have been their weakest effort to date. I thought it was a good show, but it did feel like for the first time, they were kind of not sure what they're doing exactly, and they had some technical issues, and crowd was pretty hot, although I feel like maybe the fans were burned out too, maybe because a lot of them were at the WWE events, and you know that's the problem with having so many shows in a short period of time, that fans just get burned out. So I'm going to give AEW a B, which might be the lowest grade I've given AEW yet. It was still a good show. I still enjoyed it from start to finish for the most part, but I did feel it was a bit more flawed than some of the previous AEW shows. So what did you guys think about AEW? For those of you that watched it, what is your letter grade for AEW? Let me know in the chat room what you think. Holiday Christopher Mace says B+ for NXT and B- for AEW. Curtis Butler gives a B for AEW. Noah Foster gives AEW a B-. And JSpin401 gives it an F+. I guess that's a reference to CM Punk. Christian gives it a B+. Jeremy Dorset says B- for AEW, A- for NXT. Super Chai Paiboon, not sure if I pronounced that correctly, says AEW C-, NXT B-. The Game is on 100 says NXT B+ and a B- for AEW. And Mr. Heavy Metal Hero Dude, B+ for AEW and NXT A. So somewhat of a mixed bag for both shows this week. Daniel gives AEW an A+ and an NXT a D-. I feel like that's almost trolling. Like, there's no way you're giving NXT a D-. But anyways, that's my thoughts for this week. And again, for everybody in the United States, happy Thanksgiving, happy Black Friday, and I will be back Friday night to give my recap of WWE SmackDown. And of course, stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest. Lots going on. The whole Mauro Ranallo, Corey Graves drama. Lots of news up on the site. Check it out. NoDQ.com. And of course, if you haven't already, please subscribe. Turn on that notification bell to get updates. And I will see you guys. Wait a second. Time out. Ken terminated by Google with a $5 super chat. He says, what did you think of the Evans-Omega match from last night? Evans's charisma made Booker T look like Roman Reigns. By the way, screw Cornette for trashing Omega. So I have not watched AEW Dark yet, so unfortunately I cannot give you my thoughts on that match. I've always liked Jack Evans. I remember watching him back in PWG 2004, 2005. he was actually one of the first people we had interviewed for the video show we did back then. So yeah, I'm glad to see him finally succeeding in AEW, but I have not seen that match. However, I would put money down that it was a really solid match. I will maybe give you my thoughts on Friday if you remind me about that question. Anyways, guys, I'm out for the night. Thank you all so much for your feedback and your support. And make sure you vote. NoDQ.com year-end awards, NoDQ.com/awards. You can vote for the rest of the month. And then we're going to be doing the Decade Awards coming up in December. So stay tuned for all that. And I'll see you guys next time.